From the record books, successive governments in the state have attempted to create a new ecosystem of operators, either by outrightly banning the yellow buses or reform in some ways the mode of operation.
What we are basically trying to do is to remove the choky element that the mini yellow buses constitute, and therefore replace them with medium and big size, convenient, air-conditioned buses that we are bringing in, about 5,000 in total, over the next 2 years.
Before the dream come true, the dream is already coming true. Let me give an instance. From Ojota to Ikorodu, then we used to this commercial vehicle, but now, about 2-3 weeks, I went to Ikorodu. I was on this BRT, the latest one they brought, and that has AC. I have to pay 200. I sit down comfortably and start taking picture in it. Like, oh, this is small Dubai. Yeah, in Lagos. So at least kind of very good observation. And if it comes to that, maybe they brought another kind of transportation. And it's going to be good. But can it work?
But that has always met with stiff opposition.
What government are doing here is good, but what we are trying to say to them is that they should create a place that they can load. The masses are suffering. Everywhere is complaining. So, for that regard, at least, if you look at everywhere, if you go up there, at a Jodu bus stop there, you know that there's no way, there's no space. So everywhere is hanging and is bringing many things, hardship for the people who are living in the Jodu.
Yet, the state wants to confer on itself, in words and applicable circumstances and tangibility, a mega city status, meaning that land transportation and indeed all forms of commuting align with that ambition. So, only recently another shot has been taken at reviewing the community legacy operators to an elevated world-class ecosystem befitting of Africa's fast-paced economy.
The Lagos that will emerge by the year 2020 will be the Lagos of our dreams, the Lagos that we have always desired, the Lagos that will be the pride of the black race in the world. Because to start with, where we have the largest concentration of black people in a city, the largest concentration of black people in a city anywhere in the world. That tells you something about Lagos. Look at the African map, and my governor says that all the time. Look at the African map, turn it around like a gun, like a pistol. Where the trigger is, that you put your hand like a trigger, that's where Lagos is.
Lately, there have been signs and symbols that the initiative may see the light, but of course, not without reactions.
Well, great, but then it's great to do that, you know, but at the same time, we have to face a second problem, which is the roads, you see, because the roads and traffic have to really be able to hold those buses, and at the same time, they have to be able to feed the Nigerian roads. And if the roads are not able to contain or to allow them to operate, it's going to be another problem. So having the transportation problem, the transportation here, it's great, but the second problem is, okay, the roads. How are they going to be able to feed the roads and to service the people?
Job losses, chaotic transition, favoritism in the new order are some of the concerns raised.
It's a good transition, but let's talk reality. They can't be able to employ all of them. People would like to employ their own family. They won't mind all those drivers working for yellow bus before. We are in Nigeria. They will say what they cannot fulfill. That's how they say, where we want to start this regime. But all their promises, they don't fulfill it.
You're going to make guys off job. There is no job. There is no job. We all know the truth in this country. So, and these are source of livelihood for some families. And there is no way you can take this off them. Okay? I know they want to make Lagos a mega city. It's good, it's cool. But let's also realize that there are people here who can meet up. And they've been here. They live here. They grew here. They were born here. And nobody can tell them to leave this place. Let them have that at the back of their mind. That this is their own land too. Some people stay here. So whatever they're doing, let them consider them also. If the government is going to make it like, get the mass transit, let there be more employers, employ them, okay, to work, give them more training, better. But telling them to stay off totally, That's somebody's father, somebody's husband, somebody's uncle.
We're not phasing out the drivers or the conductors. We're phasing out the buses. The same way that 15, 20 years ago, the government of the day thought it wise to phase out the Molwes. Remember that the Molwes were the progenitors of the mini yellow downfall buses. Are they good? Are they adequate for the image that Lagos State is projecting to the world as a globally competitive mega city state, aspiring to be a smart city? The answer is no. Are they comfortable? Are they convenient? Are they even safe in the manner that they are operating now? The answer clearly is no. And this is something that has gone...
They held on to a gap.
Without a doubt, yes, which is the reason why we're saying that it's not as if we'll wake up one day and remove them. For almost 1 year, we have been announcing, we have been engaging, which is the critical area of what we needed to do, engaging with the stakeholders. Now we have succeeded in bringing everybody on board, the owners of buses, the drivers, the conductors, everybody. They've even agreed to be wearing uniform. So what are we trying to do? Are we taking people out of job? Nobody, no job will be lost at all.
As it stands, the commuting public will have to begin to calibrate their minds on transiting from their darling faithful allies, the legacy land transport operator, the Danfos, to what has been described as a new and cozy way to commute.
This is not the first time that government will work with the legacy guys. With the red buses and the blue, bigger buses, lag bus, etc. Government had partnered with them before. But some of those we had to stop because they reneged in the agreement, in their terms and the agreement that they had with government. If you are investing, they were allowed to be investors previously. But of course, what happened is that those other big buses were being run and administered like the yellow buses. Maintenance was an issue, security was a concern, etc. That cannot be allowed to happen in the new order that is about to dawn.
So like we saw the extinction of the Bolekajas, the Molwes, are the Danfos on their way to perhaps the museums?
Lagos is congested for, as you can see. When we talk about the railroads, you want to talk about, the buses, of course, and the taxis. There must be a form of regulations and also a huge need in areas. For instance, now on Sunday, I traveled between here and Apapa. But then, when I came about 7 days ago, I looked at the way it took almost 7 hours to get from the airport to Apapa. And that's within a few distance. But the roads are blocked. You can't even get through. So the system, the government have to really look at ways of making things easier for the constituents, for the citizens, and having the citizens to comply with regulations that will actually help and bring things into order. It'll be a great help for everybody. Looking at this whole situation here right now, I could see high blood pressure going up. I could see families struggling. I could see people really fighting for their rights.
The future can only be a brighter community if all considerations in this regard are affirmed, barring any resistance. Change oftentimes comes with variables of assets and liability. In the circumstance highlighted, one thing is clear: Lagos has left the train station and is headed to another terminus. Some loads will be shared as the journey progresses for a more suitable possession, if for the sake of internationally acceptable practices with domesticated look, then the Danfos are thankfully on their way to other destinations meant for no return. Time will definitely define the new intermodal transport ecosystem in Africa's largest city, Lagos. That surely will be an interesting time to live in. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.